Everybody's back, all the rooms are closed. Over to you, Danielle.
Thank you. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for attending on such a hot day today. I'll try and be brief and try not to waffle too much. So if you can remember back to this morning, Nana provided a detailed overview of assignment 2 and emphasised that this is level 7 academic work. So please remember that in your writing and your research. Key reminders included checking the Pebble Pad readings, revisiting introductory materials and using previous learner examples to support structure and content. Part 1 should be written in an academic style with the academic phrase bank recommended as a useful resource. Part 2 is an online presentation in a format of your choice, but it must be accessible to us tutors. Please remember that as well. Thank you. You are reminded to align work closely with the marking criteria, use a clear and logical structure, and support analysis with current literature where possible. Presentation should be engaging but not over-designed, remaining accessible, readable, and well-referenced throughout. And finally, please practice your presentation and deliver it with confidence. Your passion for this topic should come through. We'd really appreciate that. We then moved on to barriers to whole school setting approaches. Di focused on themes that will help inform part 2 of the assignment, reminding us that all slides and session recordings will be available on Pebble Pad. Building on discussions from weekend 1, we explored examples of inclusive practice and the challenges that can affect implementation. Key considerations included stakeholder involvement, leadership approaches, cluster working, and how successful practice can be identified, measured, and shared. The ALN Code for Wales 2021 was highlighted as an important reference for collaboration and multi-agency working. We then moved into breakout discussions, barriers, and facilitators. And across groups, the most significant barrier identified was time, including coordinating professionals, waiting lists, referral delays, and managing competing priorities. Other barriers included unclear roles, differing agendas, and challenges within collaborative relationships. Key facilitators included strong partnerships between school staff, ALNCOs, parents, local authorities, and health services, alongside shared goals, effective communication, and strategic planning. Di then introduced the concept of distributed leadership, highlighting how expertise and leadership can exist beyond formal job titles. Examples including HLTAs and TAs leading on specialist areas, mentoring colleagues, and supporting the embedding of inclusive practices. This discussion reinforced that effective collaboration and shared leadership can strengthen support for learners and reduce reliance on a single individual. And then focused on professional skills, attitudes, and expertise required to support inclusion and effective ALN provision. Through a series of reflective activities, we consider our own strengths and development needs alongside the professional standards. Anne emphasised that inclusion is everybody's business, not solely the responsibility of the ALNCO. Your Padlet discussions identified several recurring qualities needed across all practitioners, including flexibility and high expectations, empathy, compassion and patience, active listening and collaboration, knowledge of inclusive pedagogy, ALN legislation, and adaptive teaching. These were identified as key features of high-quality inclusive practice, and then encouraged us to reflect on how we evaluate the impact of interventions and determine what constitutes successful practice. Effective inclusion should be embedded through high-quality tutoring for all, supported by learner voice, multi-agency collaboration, assistive tech, professional learning, and evidence-informed approaches. The ESTIN ALN Thematic Report 2024 was highlighted as a useful resource for evaluating and sharing effective practice within our own settings. Then we were lucky to have our Ask the Expert session with Lynn, and she shared findings from ESTIN's December 2024 thematic review of ALN reform across Wales, which explored practice in early years settings, primary, secondary, and all age schools, as well as local authority support. A key message was that ALN reform is beginning to improve provision, particularly where schools place high-quality teaching, strong leadership, and positive relationships at the centre of their work. Lynn reminded us to consider learning from the perspective of the learner and the importance of ensuring every pupil feels included and valued. Effective strategies highlighted in the report included visual timetables, scaffolding, assistive tech, explicit instruction, language modelling, adaptive resources, and clear feedback. Lynn emphasised that pupil profiles should be meaningful, actively used by staff, and supported through ongoing monitoring by leaders. The role of support staff was also discussed. In the most effective settings, support staff work alongside teachers in planning and delivery, adding significant value to learning. Lynn also stressed the importance of carefully planned interventions that support learning without removing pupils from areas where they experience success and enjoyment. Examples from specialist settings demonstrated how meaningful, engaging curricula can improve attendance, participation, and learning outcomes. And early years settings were highlighted for their person-centred and experiential approaches to inclusion. During the Q&A, Lynn highlighted the growing complexity of learner needs and the importance of continued research, collaboration, and practitioner well-being. She encouraged greater sharing of practice between mainstream schools, specialist provisions, and PRUs, noting that strategies such as visual timetables, routines, and scaffolding can be successfully adapted across settings. Lynn also shared positive developments in Welsh medium provision, praised the resilience and dedication of staff working within ALN, and reiterated that effective inclusive practice begins with high-quality teaching for all learners. She concluded by encouraging practitioners to make use of ESTIN resources and the SGWRS podcasts to continue developing their practice. And last but not least, we've just heard from Gareth, who focused on the skills needed to lead and influence change for inclusion. He emphasised that ALNCos play a pivotal role in implementing the ALN reforms, but the meaningful change happens through effective relationships with colleagues, learners, families, and wider stakeholders. Drawing on Rouse 2008, Gareth explored how knowledge, beliefs, and practice interact, highlighting that changing one of these can influence the others. We reflected on how personal experiences, school culture, and leadership can shape beliefs about inclusion and impact practice across settings. Gareth also introduced Florian's inclusive pedagogical approach in action as a useful framework for auditing inclusive practice within our own settings. And finally, using Pearce's theory of belief, Gareth challenged us to consider how and why people resist change. He encouraged us to question assumptions, remain open to new ideas, and use evidence-informed approaches to support meaningful and sustainable improvements for all learners. So when you've all had time to cool off later today or later this weekend or later during the summer holidays, we'd like to encourage you to please think about how have today's discussions deepened and or changed your thinking and understanding regarding excellence in our ALN practice within your own context. Your next steps, as on screen, I don't need to discuss any further because they've been covered throughout the whole day, are to revisit the reading material and recordings on PebblePad, read through the assignment specification and assessment criteria in detail that Nana talked about first thing this morning. Choose a clear focus for the audit and presentation. Carefully plan the content and structure of both parts of your assignment, adhering to the guidelines. Please do keep in touch with your tutor at your home university, and please don't forget to submit your assignment by the deadline of the 28th of August this year, not last year. Further, here's a link to remind you how to access all of the contents. And as always, if you have any questions, we're all here to answer them. So please do put your microphones back on and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you very much once again for your time today.